Far beyond the familiar stars, deep within a quiet sector of the galaxy, an uneasy silence suddenly broke. The peaceful coalition of alien civilizations, made up of many races that had long learned to coexist, was thrown into turmoil by a single, mysterious signal. Their advanced sensors had detected something approaching at unimaginable speed, something that no one had ever seen before. It was an enormous warship, enormous beyond any known scale, moving through space with a confidence that felt like a challenge. The coalition's scientists scrambled to analyze it, but their technology could barely scratch the surface of understanding this massive vessel. Its design was unlike anything in their history, sleek and intimidating, yet oddly familiar in its purpose. Rumors began to spread quickly through the coalition's channels. Some whispered that this ship was a myth, a story told to frighten young recruits. Others said it was a legend that had become real. The dreaded human warship, a force known only in old galactic tales for bringing destruction wherever it appeared. Panic stirred quietly among the coalition's leaders, who gathered in emergency councils to debate what the arrival could mean. Was this a sign of an attack, or a desperate plea for aid? The unknown weighed heavily on their decisions, as fear mixed with curiosity. None could be sure of humanity's true intentions. Meanwhile, far from the coalition's anxious conversations, aboard the very ship that stirred so much speculation, Captain Lena Riker stood silently on the bridge. She was a figure shaped by years of experience, with sharp eyes that scanned the endless black ahead. Her crew moved around her with focused energy, preparing for what they all knew was more than just a mission. This voyage was a turning point, not only for them, but for the future of the galaxy itself. Lena's voice was calm but firm as she addressed her team, reminding them of the importance of their task. Each member understood the weight they carried, yet the captain also felt the heavy burden of the unknown. They had trained for threats, for battles, but nothing had prepared them fully for the uncertainty that lay ahead. Outside the massive observation windows, stars blinked cold and distant, but the dark space seemed charged with quiet tension. Every system on the ship was running at full capacity, weapons and shields ready, though no one wished for conflict. The warship had earned its fearsome reputation not through reckless violence, but because it was built to protect humanity and its allies from dangers far greater than ordinary enemies. As the ship hurtled closer to the coalition's borders, signals were exchanged. The coalition listened, hoping for a clear message, but all they received was a calm, authoritative broadcast from Captain Riker herself. She spoke not with threats but with a warning of a danger approaching that could threaten every civilization. The warship, though seen by many as a symbol of destruction, was actually a beacon of hope against a far darker enemy. This revelation surprised many leaders, who had long expected hostility instead of an offer to join forces. The coalition's trust was fragile, but the stakes were too high to ignore the warning. Tension grew as fleets prepared for any possible outcome, scanning the dark horizon for signs of the unknown. In the shadows of space, something ancient and merciless was stirring, and humanity's warship was the first sign that the galaxy would soon face a test unlike any before. The question remained, would the coalition choose to embrace this unexpected ally, or would fear and suspicion drive them apart just when unity was most needed? As Captain Riker stood firm at her post, her mind was already racing through possibilities, knowing that soon all doubts would be swept away by the events to come. The warship's engines hummed steadily, cutting through the silence of space, carrying not just a crew or a vessel, but the fragile hope of survival for many worlds. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what the future would bring. The silence of space shattered when the massive human warship slipped out of hyperspace, just beyond the coalition's largest stronghold, a glittering cluster of starbases and planets that symbolized years of peace and cooperation among alien civilizations. From the observation decks and battle stations scattered across the coalition fleet, countless eyes watched the warship's sudden arrival with a mixture of awe, confusion, and a rising tide of fear. The ship's size alone was staggering, far larger than any vessel the coalition had ever built or imagined. Its surface gleamed with strange metals that seemed to shift and pulse under the light of distant stars. For a moment, no one dared move or speak, caught in the weight of the unknown. Then, without warning, the warship turned its attention to a nearby asteroid mining facility that had long been rumored to harbor pirate activity. What followed was a display of firepower so overwhelming that the Coalition fleet could only watch, in stunned silence. The human vessel unleashed a series of precision strikes that dismantled the entire mining operation within minutes. Explosions rocked the asteroid belt, sending debris hurtling into space, but not a single shot was wasted or stray. The destruction was swift, efficient, and utterly devastating. Despite the destruction, there was no chaos or panic on the human warship, only calm control, as if the strike were a carefully measured response rather than a reckless attack. The Coalition's sensors struggled to comprehend the advanced technology behind the weapons, which fired faster, hit harder, and moved more precisely than anything they had ever encountered. Reports streamed back from the frontline ships describing the terrifying capabilities of the warship's energy cannons, shield systems, and drone fleets. Yet as the Coalition prepared for what many expected to be an all-out assault, a surprising message interrupted their tense silence. Captain Lena Riker's voice filled the communication channels, not with threats or demands, but with a clear and urgent warning. She explained that humanity had not come to conquer or destroy, but to deliver a critical message. A far greater threat loomed on the horizon, one that could consume every civilization if left unchecked. The captain's words resonated through the fleet, replacing fear with cautious curiosity. She described an enemy unlike anything the Coalition had faced before, a relentless force that was expanding across the galaxy, destroying entire systems, with cold mechanical precision. The human warship, she said, was the last line of defense humanity could offer, sent to warn and prepare others for the coming storm. Despite the gravity of the message, Captain Riker's tone was steady and determined, inspiring a mixture of respect and hope among the Coalition leaders. They realized that this enormous vessel, once seen only as a symbol of destruction, might actually be the key to survival. The alien commanders exchanged uncertain glances, torn between their deep-seated mistrust of humanity and the urgent need to face this new enemy together. As the Coalition's warships repositioned to escort the human vessel, the atmosphere remained charged with tension and anticipation. The warship's crew worked tirelessly, scanning and sharing data about the approaching threat, their experience evident in every command and calculation. Alien scientists and strategists leaned over consoles, absorbing every piece of information, trying to piece together a defense plan. Meanwhile, citizens across the Coalition worlds watched the unfolding events with a mix of fear and fascination. News feeds broadcast images of the warship's arrival, the destruction of the pirate base, and the captain's warning, sparking debates and fears about what this meant for their future. In the quiet moments between the bursts of activity, the true scale of the situation settled over everyone like a heavy shadow. The galaxy, once filled with hope for peace, now faced a danger that threatened to unravel everything. Yet, even in this darkness, the human warship stood as a bold statement, proof that humanity was not just a wild card to be feared, but a powerful force ready to stand and fight for all life. As the stars blinked cold and distant around them, the Coalition prepared for a choice that could determine the fate of billions: to unite with humanity and face the coming storm, or to turn away from an uncertain future and risk extinction. The warship, calm and steady, waited silently, carrying not only weapons and crew but the fragile hope that, together, they might survive what was to come. Tension thickened across the Coalition's council chambers as suspicion about humanity began to shift into a cautious, uneasy alliance. For years, many alien leaders had viewed humans as unpredictable and dangerous, wild cards whose power was feared but never truly understood. Yet the revelations brought forward by Captain Lena Riker forced them to reconsider everything. A detailed briefing broadcasted directly from the human warship, Riker revealed the terrifying truth behind their mission. The galaxy was facing an enemy unlike any before, a machine hive mind that did not simply fight wars, but sought to destroy all organic life wherever it spread. This enemy was not a nation or a race, but a vast, interconnected network of machines, working together with cold efficiency and brutal purpose. Their scouts had already begun probing the edges of coalition space, sending chilling reports of entire planets turned to lifeless metal graves. The stories of the human warship's destructive past, once dismissed as reckless violence, now took on a new meaning. Those devastating battles had been desperate struggles for survival against this relentless foe. The ship's weapons and defenses were designed not to conquer but to protect, honed through countless encounters with the hive mind's forces. As the evidence mounted, the coalition's leaders realized that their fear of humanity paled in comparison to the threat closing in around them. Old rivalries and suspicions seemed insignificant in the face of such a merciless enemy. Slowly, they began to put aside distrust and embrace the possibility of working together. Emergency meetings stretched long into the cycles of their moons, where diplomats, generals, and scientists debated strategies and shared intelligence. For the first time, the coalition agreed to open their communication networks fully to the human warship, allowing the exchange of vital data that could help all of them survive. Plans were drawn, combining the best technologies and tactics of the many species united by the looming danger. Warships were dispatched to strategic positions, defenses reinforced, and training accelerated to prepare for what would be the most challenging conflict any of them had ever faced. Despite the urgency, a shadow of doubt lingered among some. Could humanity be trusted fully? Would their unpredictable nature prove to be a strength or a weakness? Captain Riker addressed these concerns with quiet confidence, emphasizing that the survival of every world depended on their cooperation. Meanwhile, reports continued to pour in from the coalition's outposts. Scouts detected new signs of the hive mind's scouts moving closer to inhabited systems, spreading like dark shadows over the stars. Entire colonies vanished without a trace, and the cold calculations of the machine enemy left no room for mercy or negotiation. The scale and speed of the threat were unlike anything the galaxy had faced, and time was running out. On board the warship, the crew worked tirelessly, analyzing every bit of information and preparing for battle. Alien officers joined human commanders on the bridge, their initial wariness slowly replaced by respect as they witnessed the crew's professionalism and determination. In quiet moments, soldiers shared stories and hopes, building fragile bonds amid the uncertainty. The coalition worlds braced themselves, citizens watching the skies with growing fear and hope. Propaganda and panic competed with messages of unity and strength. But one truth remained clear: the galaxy would never be the same. As the stage was set for war, the vast emptiness of space seemed to pulse with an unseen menace, reminding all who looked up that survival depended not on old grudges but on new alliances. Humanity, once an enigma, had become a beacon of resilience and strength, a reminder that even in the darkest times, courage and cooperation could light the way forward. The greatest battle in the history of the galaxy was about to begin, and every species, every soul, would have a part to play in shaping the future. The moment for action arrived with a heavy weight resting on the shoulders of every soul involved in the coalition. After months of preparation, countless meetings, and shared intelligence, the first coordinated strike against the machine hive mind's outposts was ready to begin. Human and alien warships gathered in formation, their engines humming with the combined power of many civilizations. At the forefront stood the human warship, a towering symbol of both fear and hope, ready to lead the charge into the unknown. As the fleets approached the dark, lifeless worlds controlled by the hive mind, a cold silence fell over the vast emptiness of space. Then, without warning, the warship unleashed a devastating salvo of energy weapons, lasers cutting through enemy defenses with pinpoint precision. The alien fleets quickly followed, their own ships firing missiles and plasma bursts in a carefully choreographed dance of destruction. The battle was fierce and relentless. The hive mind's outposts were protected by swarms of deadly drones and automated turrets that reacted with terrifying speed. Despite the overwhelming firepower, the enemy fought back with an unyielding mechanical determination, refusing to surrender even as their structures crumbled around them. The warship's tactics astonished the coalition commanders. Unlike any previous fleet they had seen, the humans combined aggressive offense with swift defensive maneuvers, adapting instantly to the enemy's changing patterns. Their weapon systems were resilient, absorbing damage and returning fire with relentless intensity. Amid the chaos, human pilots coordinated closely with alien squadrons, sharing targeting data and cover fire, breaking down barriers that once seemed impossible. The clash was brutal, and the coalition suffered heavy losses. Ships were destroyed, brave crews lost in the void, and entire sections of the battle line were pushed back. But the determination to halt the hive mind's advance fueled every fighter and commander. With each destroyed outpost, the coalition bought valuable time for their worlds to prepare defenses and evacuate vulnerable populations. Even as the battle raged, alien commanders could not help but notice something unexpected: the fierce tenacity of the human forces. Their willingness to take risks, their unpredictable tactics, and their refusal to retreat inspired a grudging respect. It was clear that humanity's greatest weapon was not just their advanced technology, but their spirit, their ability to face overwhelming odds with courage and creativity. As the fighting continued, stories of human bravery spread through the coalition ranks, strengthening bonds and inspiring hope. One alien captain noted how human pilots would dive into enemy fire to protect weaker allies, while ground troops engineered clever devices to outsmart the hive mind's relentless machines. The warship itself became a rallying point, its presence on the battlefield a constant reminder that the coalition was not alone in this fight. Yet despite their successes, the commanders knew the war was far from over. The hive mind was vast, its networked intelligence growing stronger with every battle. The enemy's ability to repair and adapt forced the coalition to rethink strategies constantly. Each victory came at a high cost, and the true test of their unity and resilience was still ahead. Back on the warship, Captain Lena Riker remained calm and focused, guiding her crew through the chaos with steady hands. Her leadership embodied the human spirit, pragmatic but hopeful, fierce but caring. She understood that this first strike was only the beginning, that survival depended on perseverance and trust among allies. The coalition fleet, battered but unbroken, regrouped after the battle to repair, refuel, and prepare for the next engagement. The experience had taught them much about the enemy, about humanity, and about themselves. Suspicion and fear had given way to cooperation and respect, and for the first time the coalition dared to hope that together they might turn the tide of the coming war. As the stars shimmered cold and distant overhead, the coalition stood united on the edge of an uncertain future, ready to face whatever challenges awaited. The human warship, a beacon of strength and defiance, remained at the forefront, carrying not just weapons but the indomitable spirit of a species determined to protect the galaxy from destruction. The final battle unfolded deep within the dark heart of the hive mind's domain, a region of space twisted by endless machines and cold metal structures stretching as far as sensors could reach. The coalition fleet, now fully united with the human warship at its center, prepared to face the enemy in what would be the greatest and most dangerous confrontation the galaxy had ever seen. Tensions ran high as commanders reviewed plans one last time, knowing that failure here meant the end of countless worlds. Despite the heavy weight of responsibility, there was a shared determination burning in every eye, the resolve to fight not just for survival, but for a future where all species could live in peace. As the fleets advanced, the hive mind responded with a terrifying fury. Swarms of machines poured from hidden factories, their numbers overwhelming and their precision deadly. The sky lit up with energy blasts and explosions as ships weaved through the chaos, each moment a test of skill and courage. Yet the human warship stood firm at the forefront, its battered hull glowing from countless impacts, but its systems holding strong. Captain Lena Riker commanded with calm authority, coordinating the movements of human and alien ships with seamless efficiency. Her voice cut through the noise, inspiring her crew and the coalition forces alike to push forward. The combined fleets unleashed a relentless assault, targeting key nodes of the hive mind's control network to cripple its ability to coordinate attacks. Strategy and bravery combined as fighters risked everything to protect their comrades and disrupt the enemy's operations. The battle was long and brutal, with heavy losses on both sides, but the unity among the coalition gave them strength that the hive mind could not match. Alien and human forces fought side by side, their trust in one another growing with each victory. Stories of heroism spread quickly. A human pilot saved an alien ship from destruction by taking down a deadly drone swarm. Alien engineers worked alongside human technicians to repair critical systems in record time. These moments of cooperation and sacrifice became the heart of the battle, proving that the greatest weapon against the hive mind was not just firepower, but the bond forged through shared purpose. As the fight reached its climax, the coalition fleet concentrated all its remaining power on the central hive complex. The human warship launched a daring assault, breaking through the final layers of defense and delivering the decisive blow that shattered the enemy's command structure. With a deafening explosion that echoed across the void, the hive mind's network collapsed and its machines ceased their advance. Victory was hard won, but it was complete. The battered warship, though scarred and worn, remained a symbol of resilience and hope. The galaxy had witnessed the strength that could emerge from unity and determination. In the quiet aftermath, old fears and prejudices slowly faded as leaders and citizens alike recognized the true nature of humanity, not as a threat, but as an ally and protector. The coalition embraced a new era of cooperation, where shared knowledge and mutual respect would build a future stronger than any one species alone. The human warship's name became a legend, not for the destruction it once symbolized, but for the salvation it had brought to countless worlds. As peace settled over the stars once more, the memory of the war and the sacrifices made remained a powerful reminder that even in the darkest times, hope and unity could light the way forward. The galaxy, forever changed, looked to the future, with cautious optimism, ready to face whatever challenges might come next together.